Hello, welcome to week 12 of Beginning Networking 1. This week it's going to get a little bit heavier. So we're going to have chapter 10, chapter 11, chapter 12. That's going to cover your wireless networking, remote access and VPN connectivity, and wide area network technologies. And for this week, we'll have two labs that we have to do, configuring DNS servers and configuring application protocols. And then these are the Professor Messer videos. And then also take the CompTIA Network Plus exam out here on Exam Compass. So I'll go ahead and open that up and show you what that looks like. So right here is the exam. There's 60 questions. Just take a print screen once you finish it and put it in the Dropbox, and that'll work. Exam Compass, they have pretty good questions, so this should help you out some. And then just so you know, the website actually has multiple certifications on there. So if you decide you're going to start looking at A plus or Security Plus or whatever, you can use this site again. And here are the drop boxes for the labs, and then the Network Plus exam there on the examcompass.com site. Okay, so for the wireless basics, basically what we're talking about here is the 802.11 standards. So that's A, B, G, N, and AC. So to sum that up for you, here's a chart. And so 802.11, A, B, G, N, and AC. So pretty much what you'll have to know on the exam is the frequency that each one operates at and the max data that it transmits. So 54 megabytes, 11 megabytes, 54, 600, and 1 gigabytes. They typically don't ask about the ranges on those, but the key things are to know the standard and know the frequency and know the data rates. So these are just different wireless standards. So if you go like to Best Buy or somewhere and you go look up wireless routers, you'll see that these markings on the boxes, and that kind of, if you understand what these are, you can do a little bit better at buying yourself your wireless router. A lot of people don't understand this. Okay, so going back to the book here real quick. So it's your 802.11, and it goes through quite a bit of the 802.11 stuff, but I think it's easier to look at in a chart. And again, under the wireless basics, we're going through basically the information that was shown on the chart. For troubleshooting with the wireless, you're looking at problems where they could not connect to the wireless access point. It could be interference from other household devices. So you can try to change the channel on it and get further away from whatever channel might be having the interference. So you want to use WEP with AES. That's the best encryption that you can have. Make sure you change the SSID, that's the name of the router, and then configure wireless encryption through WEP or WPA. And then VPNs is a virtual private network, and that provides the most security for you. And then, let's see here. Make sure you change the admin password on your router. Configure logging on your router so you can monitor websites accessed, and then you can implement website filters to control what sites can be accessed. And then a wireless roaming network can be created by having multiple wireless access points using the same SSID but different overlapping channels such as 1, 6, or 11. And then in your other wireless networking, Bluetooth, it's kind of like a personal network. You probably use it with your phone a lot. Infrared is line of sight. It's mostly used by remote controls for like TVs. And then geofencing is when a virtual fence is created around a geographical region, and the notifications can be sent from an application as someone enters or leaves the area. So like a virtual fence. Okay, so this here is what's most important that you understand. And then, so we talked about VPN. So I'm going to show you my VPN here real quick. So I bring this over here, and we're going to go back to home, and we're going to go to web and secure VPN. So all I have to do is turn it on or turn it off, and then I have different. I can pick the fastest, or I could put myself like in another country. So yeah, you probably wouldn't have the best results with that, but you can do it, and it will still work. So I could put myself in one of these other countries, and it'll really scramble up my settings. So that would be hard for somebody to track me. Okay, so that's pretty much the VPN. Now, this is my Link Systems smart Wi-Fi router. So you can see that I have the router, I have the wireless connection going on, and I have the guest network off because I don't have any guests here, so I don't want to create more open type connections that people could use. I can see my Wi-Fi settings. So this is my virus network here, and we can see that it's running at 2.4 gigahertz plus 5 gigahertz. So we can go back to our handy dandy chart. So I had 2 and 4, so I must be running 802.11n. And you can see my devices that are online. Parental controls are off. I have external server set up for storage, and you can prioritize your traffic. So this is the 3 top devices that I need to have online at all times. So these get the priorities. And then let's see here. So your device prioritization, this is known as QoS, quality of service. So I can just pick and I can drag these up here and figure out which ones I want to be have the most priority, but I have it set the way I already need it to be. My external storage. So this is kind of like a server that I have set up where I keep all my data, and I can access it from anywhere in the world that that I am. So I always have my files. My connectivity. So you can see I have admin password. That's what I was talking about. You should change. I gave no hint because I don't want anybody to know. And let's see here. So my internet settings. I have IPv4, IPv6. I have automatic configuration for my DHCP server. Let's see here. What else do I have? My local connection. So I have my host name, which is the link system 09137, IP address, subnet mask. I have my DHCP server enabled, and then I have I could have a maximum users on this network of 245, but it's just me and my wife pretty much. So. And then we have advanced routing. I have NAT enabled. We've talked about NAT before. So that's where that would be. And then administration, I have HTTPS because I want it to be secure. And that's probably about the high points in the connectivity. For troubleshooting, they have apps built in, and like I can look and I can see different things about the devices that are connected to my network, and then I can do the IP or host name pings and so forth, and trace routes, and I can restart the system from here. I also have on my phone. And then I have enabled logs, so I'm able to track incoming log for source IP addresses, outgoing IP addresses, security log for the LAN IP addresses, and for DHCP client. So those are some of the features in the troubleshooting. Wi-Fi settings. So I named my network virus.exe. Hopefully I'll keep people from trying to get in mine. Anyways, so there was the encryption here, and MAC filtering. I didn't enable MAC filtering because I have a lot of smart devices and stuff, but I could do that. Wi-Fi protected setup is on, so you have to use one of these methods below to connect to my Wi-Fi site, basically. And these are some just other options that are available. And security. So I have my firewalls turned on, my VPN pass-through, and internet filters. I'm filtering just anonymous internet requests. I don't need those, and filter port 113. So those are just some of the things that go along with the chapter about the wireless. So I thought I'd just show you an example of a router. And so like with these Wi-Fi routers, you're basically going to have like an area like this that you come into and you manage your router from and get it set up. And let's see here. So for remote connectivity concepts, the site's very good here. It has pretty much everything that you're going to need to know on it, which is going to go along with remote access and VPN connectivity. So this site here, it has some good information in it about all the stuff that's pretty much covered in the chapter. It's in one place, and then you just come down here and you can pull up the other sections of it. So that's pretty good resource for you outside the textbook. So now we'll kind of run through here and get to the end, and we'll look at we'll take a look at the drills here at the end, the summary. All right, so the basic functionality that remote connectivity users is available in many different protocols and devices. You can remotely administer a device with SSH or HTTPS. If there's a web management interface on the device, you can also remotely connect to Windows clients and servers for remote administration using remote desktop. Companies use links like POTS and ISDN to make remote connections. Common applications include your PPP dial-up and PSTN. IDSN is a system of digital telephone connections that enables data to be transmitted simultaneously end-to-end. There are two basic types of ISDN, the basic rate transfer and the primary rate interface. And then make sure that you know the device types and where each device is used, and then know the number of channels and speeds associated with BRI and PRI. PSTN was originally designed as an analog switching system for routing voice calls. And then over here, we're getting into the SLIP and the PPP. And dial-up networking. Not many people really probably do dial-up networking anymore. And then the VPN. So since we're talking about VPNs one more time here, let me just go ahead and bring mine back up, and I'll show you one more time here what it looks like. All right, so I have mine through McAfee, and if I click on the web, it's in here, and browser security. Let me see. I have my antivirus, my firewall, web protection, secure apps tracker, and shredder. So, but I went to the wrong thing here. Hang on, I forgot where it was at. Give me a second. Okay, so here's my VPN. So we kind of talked about this just a minute ago, but since it's actually in this chapter, I wanted to pull this back up and show you. So you have the ability to turn it on and off, and you have the ability to change your location, and then there's the settings that you can go through, and so like I have mine to it's automatically on Wi-Fi and LAN, and you could change when it comes on and that kind of stuff, but it's best to leave it on at all times. So that's your VPN. And now let's see here. So this was all right. So next we'll talk about the wide area networks, and let me just do this. So just go to 13 and go back a couple pages. Okay, so this chapter we got into packet switching versus circuit switching. So switching, think of it as like a phone call. So it's going to take a different path pretty much every time. So when you pick up that phone and you dial that number, it's going to take a different path every time to get to the end user. It's based on which circuits are open. So if you've ever heard the message, all circuits are busy, cannot complete the call, that's what they're talking about. So, and then packet switching is where networks use whatever pathway is best at the time to reach the destination network, where circuit switching is a dedicated pathway for the duration of the communications. So, to clarify on the circuit switching, it's one established circuit that you use for the duration of the call or the data or whatever you're doing. Whereas packet switching, every packet takes a different path and it's all assembled at the end. And then you have different protocols. X25 is a much older protocol, and frame relay is the digital version of X.25. Error correction can be used by frame relay and is monitored by higher level protocols. Frame relay supports the QoS. We looked at that in my router. It's where we set up the ability to have priority on which devices get the internet first. And then we're getting into these fiber optic technologies and carriers. So just to kind of make this a little bit more simple, what I want to do is show you this bandwidth chart. So let's stop this real quick. Okay, so this is the bandwidth chart. Okay, so this is the bandwidth comparison chart. So you have a DSO, which is this is just a regular telephone circuit that you would have like at your house, and then a DS1, also known as a T1, is 24 of the DSOs. So it's much faster. You typically would have these at a business where the business accesses the internet via DS1 or T1, and it's the equivalent of having 24 regular telephone lines. Then the next big one is the T3, and that's going to be 672 DSOs, which would be 670, the equivalent bandwidth of 672 regular telephone lines. And then it just keeps on going down the line. And then when you get into the optical ones, these ones here, you could see that they start being equal to DS3s, and so forth. So like this one here is equal to 672, which would still be the T3. But then you jump up to the OC3, and you can see that it would be 2016 telephone lines, or the equivalent to 3 DS3s. So these are where you get into like really large capacity, and these fiber optic circuits are used mostly for transmission across the country or the world, really long distances. And so, like if you work for a great big company like Ford or IBM or somebody, they may have some of these OC3s and 9s and 12s running across the world to connect all their plants. And of course, the telecommunications companies have these as well. Um, so to kind of sum up here, I pulled the Professor Messer videos for circuit switching and packet switching. So make sure you watch this one because this is an important concept to understand. And then for the sonnet, I pulled up some information on this as well. And I want you to watch this one as well because understanding sonnet is going to be an important concept in networking as well. So synchronous optical networking is going to be your sonnet. So you're really getting into some fiber optic stuff here, and that's where it starts getting a little complicated. So make sure you check this out. And so let's go back and kind of take a review and take a look at the course here and make sure we hit everything. All right, so we're going to be in week 12, we're covering chapters 10, 11, and 12. So kind of a heavy week, but you've made it this far, so I'm sure you can make it through the rest of this. And you've got your labs to turn in, you've got your Professor Messer videos, and another practice test for the on the examcompass.com site. And then just looking ahead for next week, it'll be chapter 13, 14, and 15. So if you want to start getting ahead on that, by all means, go ahead. And you'll also have 2 labs. You'll have the using event management and performance monitoring and the NAT firewall. And then you'll have some Professor Messer videos. And then you'll be doing the pre-assessment and the total tester as well. And then a preview ahead for week 14. You only have the 2 chapters. We'll finish the book, and you'll have a couple labs. You'll have some more Professor Messer videos, and then in week 15, there's this is just a catch-up week, so you can turn in any of the work from weeks 12, 13, and 14. This is when you can still get it in. And then we'll review for the final exam. And I've got some things here I'm going to make available to you for the exam. And then we'll take the exam. So let's see here. And this is going to be the holiday as well. So that's why you have a week down here where there's no work. So you could go ahead and move some of this work down to this week here. And I will take work all the way up until the end of the course. So enjoy your Thanksgiving break and everything. And I think that pretty much covers it for this week. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me and let me know. Other than that, have a great rest of the week and talk to you next week. Bye.